Here, there are 3 rules changes that you need to know. The first is Rule 1-6-1. Any wristband with defensive shifts, offensive plays, pitching choices, or game directions attached shall be considered non-electronic equipment and is permitted as long as it is a single solid color. For pitchers, it may not contain the colors white, gray, or be distracting. It does not have to match the color of the uniform or the sleeves worn underneath the uniform jersey. It shall only be worn on a player's wrist or forearm, and pitchers shall wear it on their non-pitching arm. Penalty: the umpire shall issue a team warning to the coach of the team involved, and the next offenders of the team will be ejected along with the head coach. So that's a long addition to the rules book, but let's break it down to 3 key points. First, any wristband has to be worn properly, which is on the wrist or on the forearm, but definitely not on the belt. Second, pitchers must wear it on their non-pitching arm. And third, for pitchers, it must not contain the colors white or gray, and it also cannot be distracting. Now, the second rules change comes in Rule 1-6-2, which states one-way electronic communication devices are permissible from the dugout to the catcher while the team is on defense for the purpose of calling pitches. When using the electronic communication device, the coach cannot be outside the dugout bench area. Penalty: the umpire shall issue a team warning to the coach of the team involved, and the next offenders of that team will be ejected along with the head coach. So this is a change that will be somewhat similar to what we see at the professional level, but definitely not the same. To start, this technology is only allowed to be a one-way communication from the dugout to the catcher. They are not allowed to use it for the catcher to communicate to the pitcher, or for the dugout to communicate to the pitcher. So if you don't see your catcher giving signals to the pitcher, either you have a pitcher that only throws one pitch, or a team improperly using communication equipment. The other takeaway from this rule is going to seem obvious, but we need to double down on it. The coach using the device must be in the dugout or the bench area. I don't think this will be a major issue, but the violation you are most likely going to see will be a coach sitting behind the backstop trying to call the game from there. Now, when we look at the penalty, note how it says, after a warning, the next offenders of that team will be ejected along with the head coach. Now, hopefully it will not ever come to this, but I want to review with you the part where it says next offenders. This isn't clearly explained in the case book, but the way I read the rule is specific to the coaching staff and not the players on the field. So if a violation occurs after the warning, eject the head coach, and if someone else had the device, that coach as well, but you don't need to eject the defensive player that was improperly receiving the calls. And it pretty much reads the same, but know that they added the rule in 3-2-5, which only stresses more that the device can't be used on offense and can't be used to communicate to any player other than the catcher. Finally, the last rules change is a clarification to Rule 10-2-3H. They removed the umpire-in-chief's ability to forfeit a game for infractions by the fans and spectators. The mindset here is that game management is to deal with problems outside the confines of the field and not the umpires. That being said, you can still request that game management handle sportsmanship issues coming from the fans if you're aware of it and see it impacting the game. Then, if game management fails to adequately respond, you can't forfeit the game, but it absolutely needs to be in a game report.